Okay, good morning to you
Good morning.
all again. So we'll start the session. If you have, sorry, now please turn off your microphones, uh, put it into mute mode. If you have any questions, switch on it and ask questions. Can you read the board? If not, shall I write it again? This is just a summary what we discussed last week. We started about FX market. First, we discuss why we need FX market. I hope you all can remember that. Then we discuss about what is the foreign exchange rate or the FX rate. That's the price of one currency in terms of another currency. Then we discuss about interbank market. Then we started to discuss few jargons. So, spot rate, term, cash, and forward. All these are based on the settlement date. Just to remind you, spot is a transaction where the transaction is settled after 2 business days from the trade date. Term means the transaction is settled after 1 day from the transaction date. Cash settlement date and the trade date both are the same. In the forward, this is important. Today, most of the time we will spend on discussing forwards. So forward is settlement date beyond spot date. Any settlement date beyond spot date. So generally, we write this as T plus 2. This is T plus 1. This is T equals trade date. Then we discuss about base currency and counter currency. If we write an exchange rate like this, dollar rupee exchange rate is 190. What does it mean? Value of $1 US equals 190 rupees. So here the price of dollar is given in terms of rupees. So we call this dollar as the base currency and LKR as the counter currency. So whatever the currency we use 1 unit, or what's the currency we are going to express the exchange rate of it in other currencies, we call it the base currency. In which currency we have expressed the exchange rate, that is counter currency. So if we take another example, Euro USD 1.1835. Euro is base currency, dollar is the counter currency. So just to remind you what we discussed last week. And then based on those base currency and counter currency, then we learned another two concepts: direct quote and indirect quote. In the direct quote, the simple rule is to remember if USD is the base currency, If USD is the base currency, we call it's in the direct quote. Otherwise, it's a indirect quote. This is applicable only when dollar is appearing in any of in the exchange rate. But there may be exchange rates like JPY, LKR. In this, whether it's direct quote or indirect quote depends on the whether JPY is local currency or the LKR is local currency. But don't worry about that too much. Remember this rule. Dollar, if the dollar is the base currency, then we call it the direct quote. Otherwise, it's a indirect quote. For example, Euro USD. This is an example of indirect quote. Why? Base currency is Euro. Dollar is the counter currency. What does it mean? Price of Euro is expressed in terms of dollars. 1 euro equals $1.1835. So those are the things we discussed. Apart from that, we discussed two-way quotes. What's a two-way quote? Before that, we discussed market maker and market taker. Who is the market maker? Market maker is the one who is giving quotes to others. Most of the time, banks are market makers, but sometimes banks act as market takers as well, because Bank A and Bank B, two banks. Bank A wants to buy or sell foreign exchange. So Bank A may contact Bank B and ask for a price. In that instance, Bank A is the market taker, since Bank B gives the quotes. Bank B is the market maker. So whenever bank quotes a price, the bank gives two quotes, two prices. We call it as bid and ask or bid and offer. What is the bid? It is the buying price of the market maker. Market maker will buy the base currency at the bid price. Market maker will buy the base currency at the bid price. And the ask, again, market maker will sell base currency at the ask price. So then for the market taker, it's other way around. Bid is the market taker's selling price, ask is the market taker's buying price. So therefore, in general, bid price is lower than the ask. Why? This is the buying price of the market maker. This is the selling price of market maker. Market maker will buy at a lower price and sell it at a higher price. Buy low, sell high. So therefore, the two-way quotes, most of the time, there are exceptions. You can see it's other way around, but generally bid is lower than the ask. So based on that, so this is what we discussed last week. Now we'll move into the topics that we have to discuss today. That's cross-currency rates. What is meant by cross-currency? Consider these two exchange rate USD LKR. Say exchange rate is 190. Consider this USD JPY. Assume the exchange rate is 107. What is the exchange rate between JPY and LKR? In this pair, dollar is not involved. So this sort of pairs we call cross currency. So anything Euro CHF, maybe AUD JPY, maybe Euro LKR, GBP LKR. Any of these, the dollar is not appear. So all these are cross currency. We call them cross currency, and the exchange rate we call cross currency rates. So now we are going to discuss, given the exchange rates against dollar for two currencies, how we can calculate the cross rates. Can you think about if this is the case? Dollar LKR 190, dollar JPY 107. What does it mean? 1 USD equal 190 LKR. And the second one, $1 equals 107 JPY. If it is the case, $1 equals rupee 190, $1 equals 107 yen. That means 107 JPY equals 190 LKR, because both values are equal to the value of $1. If 107 Japanese yen equal to 190 rupees, what is the value of 1 yen in terms of rupees? We divide by 107 both sides. Then we get 1 here. 1 JPY equals whatever the answer, 190 divided by 107. $1.7757. Value of a yen in terms of rupees is 1.7757. So we write it as JPY LKR 1.7757. This is the concept behind this, but there are a few rules. You can remember those rules and do the workings. Especially those rules are useful when you have bid and ask. In this example, I didn't consider bid and ask two-way quotes, just the simple exchange rates. The first rule, or the first convention is, in this, the cross-currency rate, we have to find the cross-currency rate of in between yen and rupees. So why did I consider yen as the base currency? I calculated the value of yen in terms of rupees. Even these two exchange rate, one could have done other way around. Calculate the value of rupee in terms of yen. But I didn't do that. I did it other way around. Calculated the value of yen in terms of rupee. Why? The general practice in the market is to consider the stronger currency out of these two, the stronger currency as the base currency. How do you find the stronger currency? What is more valued against dollar? So against dollar, we have to pay 190 rupees. Against yen, it's only 107 yen against dollar. So yen is stronger than rupee. Therefore, we consider yen as the base currency, rupee as the counter currency. And note that both these pairs, dollar LKR and USD JPY, are they direct quote or indirect quote? Both are direct quotes because dollar is the base currency in this both quotes. Now we'll consider when both are indirect quotes, how to calculate the exchange. And remember here, ultimately how we get this answer, exchange rate of the weaker currency divided by the exchange rate of the stronger currency. Weaker currency divided by the stronger currency when both are direct quotes. When both are direct quotes, to calculate the cross exchange rate, we divide weaker currency exchange rate against dollar by the stronger currency exchange rate against dollar. Then we get the exchange rate as the stronger currency in the as the base currency. Now we'll see when both are indirect quotes, how to do this calculation. When you think about two exchange rates or two currency pairs, what are the indirect way? GBP, USD. Sterling is the base currency, dollar is the counter currency. Then this is an indirect quote. See the exchange rate, GBP dollar exchange rate is 1.3527. What does it mean? 1 sterling pound equals 1.3527 dollars. Then we'll consider AUD USD. Okay. 1 AUD equals 0.6340 dollars. This is also an indirect quote. What is the stronger currency? For a pound, you get more dollars than Aus. 1 Australian dollar, you get only 0.6340 dollars. Here for 1 sterling you get $1.3527. So the stronger currency is GB. Again, note that this is the opposite way in the direct quote. In the direct quote, the higher the number, weaker the currency. In the indirect quote, higher the number, stronger the currency. So stronger currency is sterling. Then we have to find the exchange rate of GBP AU. How do we do that? This exchange rate we can write it as 1 GBP equals USD 1.3527. The second one we can write AUD 1 equals $0.6340. Not like earlier, we cannot equate them together because this is sterling, this is Aussie. What we have to do, we need the value of 1 GBP in terms of Aussie, but we know the value of 1 GBP in terms of dollars, value of 1 Aussie in terms of dollars. So if we can find out value of $1 in terms of Australian dollar, then we can substitute here and calculate the value. So what is the value of 1 USD? It is in terms of OC is the 1 over 0.6340. $1.5773. I rounded up to 4 decimal places. So this is the value of 1 USD. Then what is the value of $1.3527 in terms of Australian dollar? If we know the value of $1 in terms of Australian dollar, we can find the value of any number of dollars in terms of Australian dollar. What we have to do? Multiply. So therefore, 1 GBP equals USD 1. Now it's in Australian dollars. 1.3527 into 1.577. This is the value of a sterling pound in terms of dollars. This is the value of a dollar in terms of Australian dollars. You multiply this, you will get the answer. $0.1336. Clear? Value of $1 in terms of dollar, which is given. Value of 1 Australian dollar in terms of dollars, again it's given. We have to find the value of 1 sterling pound in terms of Australian dollars. So what we did, first find the value of a $1 in terms of Australian dollar, then use that figure to multiply this dollar amount to get its equivalent Australian dollar. But though you see here, this is as an as a multiplication, what we really did. What is this 1.5773? It is 1 over 0.6340. 1 over 0.6340. So this is the exchange rate between sterling and dollar, stronger currency, and divide by the exchange rate of the weaker currency. Same thing, division, like in the when you have two direct quotes, but the currencies are other way around. We have changed the denominator and the numerator. When you have two direct quotes, weaker currency rate divided by the stronger currency. When we have two indirect quotes, stronger currency divided by the weaker currency. That's the rule. Then we have one more combination. What is that? One direct quote and one indirect quote. One direct quote and one indirect quote. What is a direct quote? Say USD LKR 190. One indirect quote GBP USD 1.3524. Dollar LKR 190. $1 equals 190 rupees. One sterling equals 1.3524 dollars. Direct quote and an indirect quote. Now again, what is the stronger currency? This will be a bit tricky because you cannot just compare these two. But if we calculate value of 1 rupee in terms of dollar, it would be 1 over 190 USD equals 1 LKR. This would be a less than 1 figure. So value of rupee in terms of dollar is very small than this value of £1 in terms of dollars. So sterling is the stronger currency. We need to find GBP LKR exchange rate, cross rate. GBP is the base currency, LKR is the weaker currency. Again, write $1 equals 190 LKR and 1 GBP equals $1.3524. How do we find 1 GBP in terms of LKR? We know the value of a sterling pound in terms of dollar. And we know the value of a dollar in terms of rupees. So therefore we can multiply these two figures . Get the answer. So this is the easiest one when we compare with the previous two. When you have one direct quote and indirect quote, To get the exchange rate, what you have to do, just multiply. But remember, the base currency would be the stronger currency. The answer is $256.956. Whenever you do a calculation like this, you should have some rough idea about this answer. Should it be more than 190 or less than 100? $1 equals 190 rupees. Here you can see 1 sterling is more than $1, 1.3524. So value of 1 sterling in terms of rupees, so should be more than 190. If you get less than 190 figure as the answer, something. So even the previous two example, same thing. You should be able to check that, at least whether you have gone towards the correct direction. So again, how to calculate the cross currency rates? When you have direct quote and an indirect quote, just multiply the exchange rates, then you get the answer with the stronger currency in the base currency position or as the base currency. So we discussed 3 scenarios. Just to summarize, two indirect quotes, two direct quotes, and one direct and one indirect. How do you calculate the cross rates? When you have two indirect quotes, stronger currency rate divided by, against dollar, exchange rate of the stronger currency against US dollar divided by the exchange rate of the weaker currency. When you have two direct quotes, is the weaker currency exchange rate divided by the stronger currency. When you have one direct quote and one indirect quote, just the weaker currency exchange rate multiplied by the stronger. So just the multiplication of the two exchange rates. These are the basic rules in possible 3 under 3 possible combinations, how to calculate the cross rates. So be clear on this, because in the next step it will be bit complicated, because we are going to introduce the two-way codes into these rules. So note that and remember. Now we'll move into how to calculate cross exchange rates with bid and offer. Again, we'll start with two direct quotes. USD LKR
Excuse me, sir.
190.
Excuse me. Hello.
Yes, please.
Sir, if you can write middle of the board, we can see, because the record button is there, then we can't see whatever the top line, we can't see. Yeah.
You can't see this part?
No, because the record button is appearing in the listing. If you can turn right, yeah, okay. Turn more right, we can see.
This side you can see properly.
No, middle. You can start from middle, sir. Just 2-3 inch away from. Not there. Here? No. Just to right. Yeah, there is fine. That place is fine.
So here, I think maybe that's in your screen. You may be able to.
That's not his screen. I think you have to put full screen.
Remove that panel.
Record.
Button. I write somewhere here.
That's fine. Okay, fine.
Because very limited space, then I have to.
Okay, sir. No, just 2 inch. That's fine.
Okay. So again, 2 direct quotes. USD LKR 190, USD JPY 107. We calculated the exchange rate for JPY LKR. How? According to the rule, both are direct quotes. Weaker currency divided by the stronger currency. Now I am going to introduce bid offer 190.25 30. What does it mean? Bid exchange rate is 190.25. Offer rate is 190.30. For the dollar yen 107.10 and 50. Bid of the dollar yen 107.10.10. Offer of the dollar yen is 107.15. Now, how do you find the bid of the yen LKR rate? What would happen if you divide, following the rule, weaker currency divided by the stronger currency? 190.25 divided by 107.10 and offer 190.3 divided by 107.50. Just do the calculation and see what are the numbers that you get. 190.25 divided by 107. 1.7764. If you just divide these two figures, what would happen? You get the bid rate as 1.7764, offer rate as 1.7760. What do you think about this answer? Something wrong. By now you should identify that. Why? Your bid rate is higher than the offer rate. If you are a market maker, you buy high and sell low. It cannot happen. It won't happen. You should buy low and sell high. what went wrong? This is the smaller number out of these two, and we divided it by another smaller number. Then the answer would be a large number. Here you divide by a large number, so you get a higher number. But the correct way is, we call it cross division. The previous rule is still applied. Weaker currency rate divided by the stronger currency rate, but when we have two-way codes, we have to cross it. Use cross division. What does it mean? Bid divided by the offer, offer divided by the bid. 190.25 divided by 107.50. This is the bid. Bid figure should be divided by the offer rate. Offer rate divided by the bid rate. Then you will get dollar LKR, sorry, yen LKR bid and yen LKR offer. Now you can see this figure. $1.7755 1.7768. Mathematically, how to get this? This is the rule. Cross division. Cross division. But weaker currency divided by the stronger currency. When you have two period codes. Clear? Why do we do this? Just to get this high figure or the low figure and high figure? Not really. There's a intuition behind this. The thing is, in the JPY LKR bid, what do? You buy JPY as a market maker. I'm always talking from the market maker's point of view. Buy JPY against LKR. Buy JPY against LKR. If you want to do this, you have two rates. How do? You want to buy JPY against LKR. So that means you have LKR. First you have to buy USD against LKR. You sell LKR and buy USD. At what rate you would do that as a market maker? Dollar rupee exchange rate. You buy dollar at the bid rate. 190.25. Then what do you do with those dollars you bought? You sell USD against JPY. So you had some rupees, you sold those rupees, bought dollars. Now you sell those dollars to buy yen. So it's effectively buying yen against LKR. At what rate will you do this transaction as a market maker? You sell dollar against the JPY at the offer rate 107.15. Now these are the two exchange rates applicable. Now you can just follow that division rule. That's what we did here, and that is the rule. Cross division. The same thing for the offer. In the offer, what do you do? Instead of buying, you sell JPY against LKR. So you have to start with selling JPY. Sell JPY against dollar. In other terms, it is same as buying USD against JPY. What is the applicable rate? You buy dollar against JPY. Dollar is the base currency. You buy dollar at the bid rate 107.10. Now, in the second step, what you do? The dollars that you bought, you sell those dollars to buy rupees. Sell USD against LKR. As a market maker, at what rate will you sell base currency? At the offer rate. So 190. These are the two exchange rate applicable here to calculate the cross rate. Two direct quotes to calculate the cross rates. What do we do? Weaker currency divided by the stronger currency. That was there here earlier to calculate the offer. Instead of bid, to calculate the offer, we follow this. This is the intuition behind the rule that we discussed. But to do the calculation, what you have to remember, direct quotes, weaker currency in the numerator, stronger currency at the denominator, cross division. That's it. Bid divided by offer, offer divided by bid. Clear? So now we'll move into the second combination. Two indirect quotes. When we have two indirect quotes, how do we calculate the cross rate? GBP USD, AUD USD. And again, I'm going to introduce two-way quotes. Bid and the offer. In the previous case, we learned when we have two indirect quotes, still it's a division, but it's the division of stronger currency rate divided by the weaker currency. Division of stronger currency by weaker currency. But again, we have two-way codes now. We can still use the same concept, but we have to think about the impact of bid offer. The same rule we apply here, cross division. Cross division. So stronger currency is GBP, AUD. That's the exchange rate that we want to find. How to get the bid? To get the bid, the exchange rate of the stronger currency 1.3524 bid divided by the 345. This is bid of stronger currency divided by the offer of the weaker currency. Bid of the stronger currency divided by the offer of the weaker currency. Cross division. Still cross division, and the rule what we learned earlier when we have two indirect quotes. Stronger currency rate divided by the weaker currency. Then what is the GBP/AUD offer rate? Offer of the stronger currency divided by the bid of the weaker currency. 1.3528 divided by 0.634. Offer of stronger currency divided by bid of weaker currency. Offer of the stronger currency divided by the bid of the weaker currency. Again, behind this calculation, the same economics applies. To buy OC against sterling, to buy OC against sterling, first you have to sell sterling against dollar, then use those dollars to buy OC. That's why these rates apply as in this way. So I'm not going to explain that again, but still the same concept applicable. Now let's move into when we have one direct quote and one indirect quote. One direct quote and one indirect quote. One direct quote USD KR 190 2530 GBP USD, $1.3524. This is very simple. The cross rate is GBP LKR. Out of LKR and GBP, GBP is the stronger currency, so GBP is in the base at the base currency. LKR is the counter currency. GBP LKR. How to get the bid value? It's simple. You just multiply directly. Multiply two bids, multiply two offers. 190.25 into 1.3524. That's the bid rate. GBP/LKR offer rate, offer of the weaker currency into offer of the stronger currency. Since this is a multiplication, either way, whether you first write stronger currency, then the weaker currency, it doesn't matter. However, bid multiplied by bid to get the bid, offer multiplied by the offer to get the offer. So those are the three rules you have to follow to calculate cross currency rates with the bid and offer. Any question? Any question, please? Again, I'm going to summarize. When you have two direct quotes, two indirect quotes, one direct quote and one indirect quote. Now, how to get bid, how to get offer. To get the bid, then we have two direct quotes. Bid of weaker currency divided by offer of stronger currency. Bid divided by offer, cross division. Bid of weaker currency divided by the offer of the stronger currency. Then we have two indirect quotes. Still bid divided by offer. The difference is bid of the stronger currency divided by the bid of the weaker currency. Bid of the stronger currency divided by the offer of the weaker currency. In this, just bid into bid. Just multiply two bids when we have one direct quote and one indirect quote. When we have two direct quotes and to get the offer of the weaker currency divide by bid of the stronger currency. Again, cross division. When we have two indirect quotes, offer of the stronger currency divide by bid of the weaker currency. stronger currency divided by weaker currency, but offer divided by B to get the offer. When we have one direct quote and one indirect quote, again just multiplication to offer price. This is the summary of what we discussed so far about cross-currency trades. So you should be familiar with those. When two rates are given with two-way quotes, you should be able to calculate two-way quotes for a cross-currency pair. What is a cross-currency? Two currencies involved, but none of them is dollar. Exchange rate which doesn't appear dollar in that currency pair. That is a cross-currency rate. Is it clear? Now I'll move into forwards. FX forward. I know in the presentation in between forward and the cross currency, there's another session called position. We'll come to that at the end or later. First, we'll discuss FX forward because this is a bit important. What is a forward transaction? This is timeline t equals 0. Trade date. Today is the trade date. Assume no holidays. This is Tom value t plus 1. And this is the spot date after 2 business days from the trade date. Settlement date after 2 business days from the trade date. Anything beyond this, it may be t equals 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 90 days, 100 days, 360 days, so whatever. All these are, we call them forward transactions. Any settlement date falls beyond spot date. These type of transactions are called forward transactions. Here, so we know what is a forward transaction. And we mentioned the exchange rate that we discussed, say USD LKR 190. What does it mean? That is the rate applicable by default, applicable for the settlement on spot date. $LKR exchange rate applicable for the settlement on spot date. Whether it's a TOM or a cash or a forward, we don't apply the same rate. We need to adjust this exchange rate for the value date. In forwards, there are some like standard settlement dates, say 1 month, 1 month forward, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. We call these a standard settlement, but in the forward transaction, it may be just a 1 day forward. That means from here altogether 3 days, but beyond spot it's a 1 day. Remember that all these 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, everything is counted from the spot date, not from the trade date. When we say 1 month forward, it is 1 month in the future from the spot date. So therefore, the day conventions that we discussed under money market are applicable when you decide the forward value date. Say, assume 28th February is the last trading date of the month. Then 1 month forward would be maturing 31st March. Last business day of the next month. And if it is 31st March is a holiday, it won't go beyond that to the next month. So come back 1 day to 30th March. I hope you can remember how to find the maturity dates. So the same concept that day conventions applicable, settlement date conventions applicable for the forward transactions as well, starting from the spot date. So then what is the applicable exchange rate for a forward transaction? We call it the forward rate. The applicable exchange rate, we call it a forward rate. How do we calculate the forward rate? It is simply the division or the division between future value of the two currencies. I'll take an example. Say USD LKR 190 is the spot exchange rate. Dollar rupee spot exchange rate is 190. 1 USD equals 190 LKR. $1 equals 190 LKR. Say we want to calculate a forward rate for 90-day forward transaction, which is maturing in 90 days from the spot. So we call it 90-day forward transaction. But we need to we have to calculate the future value of $1 in 90 days, future value of 190 rupees in 90 days. To calculate the future value, what we need the applicable interest rate. So we'll assume dollar interest rate is 0.5% for 90 days. We say interest rate 8%. Dollar interest rate 0.5%, rupee interest rate 8% for 90 days. Now we know how to calculate the future value of this $1. What is the future value? 1 plus. We use money market convention, money market calculation method, because forward mostly less than 1 year. And this is especially a 90-day one, so it's a money market. We follow the money market. So interest rate into number of days divide by 360. This is the equation to calculate future value following the money market convention. So here present value is 1. 1 plus exchange rate is 0.5. Remember 0.5%. So we have to put 0.5 divide by 100. This 360 is also there. And we calculate this future value for a 90-day period. Similarly, we can calculate the future value of 190 rupees at 8%. Present value is 190. 1 plus interest rate 8%. Divide by 100, multiplied by 360 and 90. 8 is the interest rate, 90 number of days, divided by 360. We assume 360 day count convention. So at the end, we assume if $1 equals 190 rupees today, after 90 days, whatever the future value of dollar should be equal to future value of this rupee amount as well. So therefore, these two figures should be equal each other. This is but in two different ways. This is in dollars. This is in LKR. Now here you have more than $1. To make it 1, what we can do, we can divide both sides by this part. So therefore $1 equals LKR 190 1 plus 80 to 90 what is this? Future value of the dollar, rupee amount. Future value of the rupee amount. We divide this future value of the rupee amount by the future value of the dollar amount. 1 plus 0.5 into 90. So $1 equals some amount of rupees. This is the 90-day forward exchange rate dollar for dollar. Given these two interest rates and this spot rate. Calculate the future value of base currency. Calculate the future value of counter currency. Make them equal each other. Then calculate the price of a base currency in terms of counter currency. That is the concept behind calculation of forward exchange rate. So if we are to generalize this, exchange rate is 1 unit of base currency equals S. S is the spot rate. That's how we write the exchange rate. 1 unit of base currency equals S number of units of counter currency. The interest rate applicable here is, I put just B here, interest rate of the base currency and interest rate of the counter currency. So calculate the future value at this rate. What could be the figures? 1 plus RB interest rate of the base currency into number of days divided by 360. What is the future value of S? That's the spot rate. S into interest rate of counter currency, the number of days divided by 360. Calculate the forward rate. We denote it by there. We divide this whole thing by this. So D is the number of days. This is the equation given in the slides. The same concept. Future value of the base currency, future value of the equivalent amount in counter currency. Calculate the future value of the base currency. We use the interest rate of the base currency. To calculate the future value of this counter currency amount, we use the interest rate of the counter currency. So same number of days. This 360, that depends on the currency that we use. If there's any currency which uses 365, then we can replace it with 365. This is the perfect or the exact equation to calculate the forward exchange rate. I think the concept behind this and the derivation is clear. No need to remember the derivation, but have the concept in your mind. How to get this. So the forward rate equals spot rate times 1 plus counter currency interest rate into number of days divided by the day count convention, 1 plus base currency into D divided by 360. Again, day count convention. So this way is easy to remember: counter currency interest rate and the base currency interest rate. Sometimes in some books you might see local currency and foreign currency. That will confuse you if you cannot identify what is the local currency and what is the foreign currency, especially when rupee is not involved there. So this is the exact equation, but when these interest rates are very low, we can approximate this by this equation. This is just the interest rate differential between the counter currency interest rate and the base currency interest rate. So this is only a approximation. But when the interest rates are very low, very close, this difference will be very small, and between the answer you get from this equation and this. So you can use this one as well. This is easy to do. So we'll do one example. Say Euro USD. Assume the spot is $1.1735. Interest rate Euro 1%. Interest rate dollar 0.5%. We'll calculate the forward rate for 30 days. No, it will make it 45 days. So it can be broken dates, not a 1 month, not a 2 months. Oh, no need to be the standard settlement date. It can be anything. So 45 days. So what we have to do, identify, remember the equation. But when you remember the equation, you should know what are these terms exactly. So you will get some numbers. Then you should be able to correctly substitute those numbers into the equation. What is the base currency in this currency pair? Base currency is Euro. That's the first thing that you have to identify. First, you have to identify what is the base currency, what is the counter currency. Then you know this is the RB in this equation. This is RC in this equation. Otherwise, you don't know how to substitute. It won't give you as the interest rate of the base currency is 1%, interest rate of counter currency is 0.5%. It won't tell you like that. It will tell you dollar interest rate is 0.5%, euro interest rate is 1%. You should be able to identify what is the base currency, what is the counter currency. So we'll substitute figures. Spot is 1.1735. 1 plus interest rate of counter currency. Counter currency dollar. Interest rate of dollar is 0.5%. 0.5%. Remember that one as well. D, number of days, 45 days. Divide by 1 plus interest rate of the base currency. Interest rate of the base currency 1% into 45 days. This is the forward rate. 1.17. So 1.1728. This is the forward exchange rate. Now, can you compare this with the spot rate? Spot rate is 1.1735. Forward rate is smaller than lower than the spot rate. Can it be happen? Yes, it is possible. The reason here is the interest rate of the base currency. Interest rate of the base currency is larger than the interest rate of the counter currency. If we did that approximation, you can see RC minus RB into B over G60. RC minus RB, RC is lower than RB, you get a negative figure. So therefore, you subtract something from the spot rate. The forward rate is lower than the spot rate. That happens only if when the base currency exchange interest rate is higher than the counter currency. When the interest rate of the base currency is higher than the interest rate of the counter currency, the forward rate is smaller than spot rate. If counter currency interest rate is lower than the interest rate of the base currency, then forward rate is smaller than the spot rate. Interest rate of the counter currency is lower than the interest rate of the base currency, then the forward rate is less than the spot rate. We call it, when we see forward rate is less than spot rate, base currency is at a discount. We call base currency is at a discount because value of base currency is low now in terms of the counter currency. But now you might have realized that depends on the relationship between interest rates. It's not about anything, any expectation. It's not depending on the expectation what would be the exchange rate in the future. So this is not a forecast. Forward rate, it won't give you an indication what would be the exchange rate in 45 days. It's not true. This is purely based on the interest rates, interest rate difference. So and the other option, other possibilities, if the counter currency, if the interest rate of the counter currency is higher than the interest rate of the base currency, then the relationship between a forward rate and the spot reverse. Then the forward rate is higher than the spot rate. In this, we call it the base currency is at a when we have a counter currency interest rate higher than the interest rate of the base currency, forward rate is higher than the spot rate. When we say base currency is at a premium. So a good example is USD LKR. LKR exchange interest rate is around 7%. Dollar is almost 0, say 0.1%. Base currency is dollar. LKR is the counter currency. Interest rate of counter currency is higher than the interest rate of the base currency. So therefore, forward rate is higher than the spot. That's why we always see in Sri Lanka, dollar rupee forward rates are higher than the spot rate. But consider USD JPY. Most of the time, dollar interest is greater than interest of yen. But the base currency is dollar. Yen is the counter currency. Base currency interest rate is higher than the interest rate of the counter currency. Forward rate is less than the spot rate. So dollar at a discount. In this, dollar is at a premium. So this is how we calculate forward rates. Then we'll discuss about forward points. Or sometimes we call it as soft points. Can you remember we discussed a concept called pips or points? What is a pip? 1 pip equals 1/100 of 1%. 1% means 0.01 divided by 100. It's also same as 1 divided by 10,000. So 0.0001. This is the value of a pip in general. So exchange rate, most of the currencies exchange rate are quoted for 4 decimal points. Then the last one is we call pip. Last 2 digits we call pips. In quoting, we don't quote the whole figure. We just quote the last 2 pips. So we discussed that last week. The points, same thing. We refer to these points at the end, but forward points are, how do we calculate forward points? That's the difference between forward rate and the spot rate. Forward points are the difference between forward and the spot. Forward points is the forward minus spot rate, but expressed in pips, not in decimal. That's why we call it points. So in our previous Euro USD example, spotters 1.1735. Forward was 1.1728. This is the spot, this is the forward. Then what is the forward points in this example? Difference between forward and the spot. Forward minus spot. Remember that. Whether the forward is the largest figure or the smallest figure, irrespective of that, we always calculate forward points as forward rate minus the spot rate and express it in terms of pips, not as a decimal point. So 1.1728 minus 1.1735. The answer you get as 0.0007 and negative 0.007 negative, but we don't write it as this. Instead we write it as minus. So the forward points are minus 7 in this example. And again, when you see forward points negative, what does it mean? If the forward points negative, forward rate is smaller than the spot rate. That means interest rate of the base currency is higher than the interest rate of the counter currency, or in other words, base currency is at a discount. When you see negative forward points, you can tell about the interest rate differential, whether the base currency is at a premium or discount, and interest rate of which currency is high or which currency is low. So when the forward points are negative, base currency interest rate is higher than the interest rate of the counter currency. So therefore forward rate is smaller than the spot rate. That means base currency is at a discount. Assume USD LKR 190. Dollar interest 0.5%, number of days calculate the forward rate. Forward equals spot 1 plus interest rate of the counter currency, number of days divided by 360, whole thing divided by 1 plus interest rate of the base currency, number of days divided by 360. Now substitute the figures. Spot is 190, 1 plus counter currency interest rate is 7%, number of days 30, 100 into 360, 1 plus 0.5, 30, 100 into 360. What's the answer? The answer is 191.0287. Now you can see you should expect a forward rate higher than the spot rate. Why? In this example, interest rate of the counter currency is higher than the interest rate of the base currency. So base currency is at a premium. Forward rate is higher than the spot. What is the forward point? Forward points. That's the difference between 190 and 191.0287. So in decimal, it's 1.0287. Forward points in the decimals 1.0287. But remember, we don't express generally forward points in decimals, in points. But again, currencies like USD LKR, USD JPY, the point is defined as 0.01, not as 0.0001. Currencies like dollar LKR, dollar JPY, dollar INR, dollar Taka, things like that. So only 2 decimal places. So in that sense, how many points here? It's 102.87. Forward points is 102.87. This is because only 2 decimals in currencies like dollar rupee. This is positive figure. So you know this base currency interest rate is lower than the counter currency. So therefore base currency is at a premium. The next thing in the market, when you want to do a transaction in forward, the market won't quote you the forward rate itself, but it's instead the market will quote you forward points. Say 35, 40, like this. What does it mean? For the spot rate, you have to at 35 or 40. This is bid. This is offer. So these are forward points. Now we'll discuss how do you derive the forward rates when we have these codes. Assume this is for Euro USD 1.135659. This is the spot rate. Euro dollar spot rate. This is bid. This is offer. and you want 60-day forward. Then the forward points are 35, 40. How do you derive the forward rate? Simply add forward points to the quoted spot rate. But remember, these are points, not in decimal. So therefore, to get the bid, you have to add 35 points or 35 pips. 35 pips means 0.0035. 1.1391. This is the bid rate of the forward rate. To get the offer, 1.1359, add 40 points. 40 points means 0.0040. You get 1.1399. This is the offer. This is the offer. Okay. This is true. This is applicable when the forward points are like this, 35, 40. We follow the general rule, lower bid and higher offer price. But in the forward markets, you might see forward points like this, 40, 35. Bid is higher than the offer. What does it mean? So, what is implied by this? When the bid is higher than the offer in the forward points, the real meaning is the sub points or the forward points are negative. Forward points are negative. The meaning is minus 40, minus 35. Now you can see minus 40 is lower than minus 35. So instead of quoting minus or the sign, they just quote the figures. But when you see this, to calculate the forward rate, instead of adding it, what do you have to do? Subtract the forward points. Then you get the bid and the just subtract bid points from the bid of the spot, subtract the points in the offer from the spot price. Then you will get the forward rate. So remember this, whenever you see higher bid than the offer, higher bid than the offer in forward points, what does it mean? The forward rate is lower than the spot rate. So forward points are negative. So you subtract forward points from the spot rate. And this will tell you the relationship between interest rates as well. Base currency interest rate is higher than the spot, counter currency interest rate. So just by looking at forward points, you can tell many things. Interest rates and about the forward rate, whether it will be higher than the spot rate told over there in the spot rate, and whether base currency is at a premium or a discount. So okay, I think now it's time to stop. If you have any questions, we can spend few minutes on answering questions. If you have any questions, please ask. It seems no questions.
Last question next week after study.
Yes. Yes, if you have any questions,
Because,
anytime you can ask.
yes.
But
Yes.
Next week, I think most probably Mr. Perry will take over the class and discuss about the treasury management. What are the functions of treasury?
Okay.
Yes, but be in touch with these things. We haven't finished the FX part completely. We have to discuss about arbitrage and speculation, arbitrage in cross currencies and forwards. Both we have to discuss. Still, we have to do a lot on FX. To do that, you should be masters on these topics: how to calculate forward, how to calculate cross rates, and things like that. So yes, you have to study. Please do that. And if you have any questions, please free to ask. So if you don't have any questions, others on the same view.
Yeah.
Okay, then if you don't have any questions, we'll wind up here. Thank you very much for listening. Hopefully next week, Mr. Perry will take over the class, maybe about for 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.